So we are looking at Manipura chakra today. And as I said last week, and I'll be saying throughout this month, this this is a chakra very much concerned with transformation. And when we talk about transformation, that works on so many levels. It can be about on a physical level, our food into energy. But I also think energetically, it's very much about our transformation of our ego and our analytical mind more into the heart and into the body, because we live in times where I don't like to use the word patriarchy too much because that sounds like I'm being anti-male, and I'm not. But what I mean by that is that we've lost those more feminine qualities, and this applies to men as well as women, about intuition, softness, coming from the heart. And if we have a problem, we tend to analyze it and be in our heads rather than drop down into silence, into stillness, and into our body, where the answers always are. So that's very much kind of going to be the theme of this morning, about how we transfer the transformation, less of the ego, more towards our softer feminine power. Whether we're male or female, this applies. And we're going to start, as always, by you just checking in, because we are in our head so much that it's only when we come to yoga that we have the opportunity to actually become more still and observe how we actually are. And this transformation is also about us thinking about our deep, real self, our vibration, as it were. Again, this is something I'm talking a lot about now. Because of what's happening in the external world, I think it's even more important to pay attention to our inner self, our true self, our inner state of being, and to try to keep that as peaceful as possible. Because the great definition of yoga is that second Yoga Sutra, yoga is about the mind becoming peaceful. That's a very vague translation, but that's what this is about. Because with a quiet mind, this is where the healing begins. And I just want to add that healing is always, always possible. So however you're feeling, or however unwell you've been, for whatever length of time, I promise you, transformation, healing is always, always possible. So please come to a comfortable sitting position. And if you need to lie, that's also fine. We will be lying down quite soon. And we're going to start just by checking in. So if you've been in your head a lot, which most of us are, just see if you can it's almost like a physical thing, drop into the body, come out of the head, come out of the analysis, and begin to feel, how am I? How am I physically? And you make this as an exploration with kindness, with neutrality if you can. And the great purpose of this exploration is to allow everything to be as it is. So non-resistance to your present moment experience. What we resist persists. So even if there's pain or fatigue or aches or pains or difficult emotions like anger or resentment, rather than fight them or resist them, just allow everything to be as it is. Because this is where the transformation happens. Now, you might feel that there is nothing difficult there, but if there is, might be a sensation, a feeling, an ache or a pain, if you like, just take your hand there. And feel that you're bringing kindness to this. And on every inhalation, breathe in a sense of compassion to whatever is there. And if there's nothing there, that's fine too. And now take your hands to your navel around the belly button. So this is Manipura chakra, our sun center, our city of jewels. And I'd like you to now visualize breathing into the navel, your lustrous gem. And as you breathe in, visualize golden sunlight, the life force of sun, Surya. And if this is too strong, you can imagine it as gentle sunlight. Just visualize it into your core center. And as you breathe in, visualize the color yellow, building your inner fire to build your confidence, autonomy, spontaneity, willpower, resilience, and courage. And as you breathe out, just allow anything you want to let go of to release. And have a sense of welcoming your inner core, your inner light. And then we're going to do the same as we did last week. We're going to use the mudra for this chakra and the chant. So you can look at the screen for this, or you can just listen. So we're going to swipe the left hand, swipe the right hand, swipe the left hand. That is the mudra for Manipura chakra. And then we're going to chant Om Ram Ram Ram. And we're going to do that 3 times. So I'll start, and then you do this in your own pitch and your own vibration. So do this with me if you like. Do the mudra, swipe, swipe, swipe. Take your hands to your navel. Inhale. Om Ram Ram Ram. Once more, I'll do it with you. Swipe, swipe, swipe. Hands to navel. Inhale. Om Ram Ram Ram. And now you do that once or twice more, your own breathing rhythm, your own pitch. And just focus now on breathing in a sense of transformation and power, and know that anything is possible. We have this word in yoga, shraddha. It means faith. It means the knowledge that life will look after us and we will be okay. And then when you're ready, please come down to a comfortable lying position. So as always, you can lie on a sofa, you can lie on a bed, or you can lie on the floor on a mat. And I always suggest you start with your knees bent just to help the back to begin to release. You can either have the knees hip width apart, or you could just bring the knees in together, heels towards the buttocks. And then just start by having the hands away from you with the palms turned up, shoulders relaxed. And just start by feeling the weight of your body and have a sense of being held by your support. So these first 3 lower chakras are also there. I mean, the root chakra is about grounding, but all of them are about grounding. And I think at these times, it's really important to feel that stability of what is holding you. And then take a moment or two to just explore your inner being, if that means something to you. So I talked before about the inner vibration, because this is actually our true stability. And the more we explore that, the more we begin to understand that. Because the aim here is to make friends with our inner world, our inner vibration, to make our vibration peaceful. Even under the thoughts and the emotions, there is a sense of peace there. And you might like to ask the question, who am I? Or even, what am I? And to get a sense of the answer to this question, in fact, there is maybe no answer, that's fine. But see if you can watch for the spaces between the thoughts or the space after the exhalation. And then again, we're going to come back to the breath. So just start by observing how your breathing rhythm is. Always, always, you make this inner exploration without judgment, just observing. And then if you can, you're going to start to slow the breathing down. If it's appropriate for you, you're going to start to breathe through the nose. And just to help us with our breathing, because this is a key part of our recovery, is learning to have healthy breathing, because healthy breathing resets, recalibrates the nervous system. So just one hand to the heart, one hand below the belly button, and you're breathing into the lower hand. And have, one of my teachers, Jessica Child, used to say, let the breath be your friend. Think of the breath as your friend. Always there, soothing you. I know for some people who've had trauma, observing the breath can be triggering. And if that's you, just focus on the movements under the lower hand. Just feel the warmth of your belly. Don't force anything, but as we slow the breath down, we begin to regulate the nervous system. And then we're going to hum the breath out for the next 5 breaths. Now, we do this for many reasons. It's to help tone the vagal nerve. We know from all the research that sound and breath are have the greatest impact on regulating our vagus nerve, which is very much connected with our nervous system. But in terms of yogic philosophy, sound helps us to find our real vibration, and it helps to elevate our vibration. So for this reason, it's really important that you find your vibration rather than my pitch. So I'm going to do this once with you, but then I'd like you just to hum for 5 breaths at what feels the right pitch for you. This also helps to elongate the exhalation, which also is very good for healing. So when you're ready, breathe through the nose. Take 5 breaths like that, your own breathing rhythm, your own pitch. And then you're going to ask yourself a reflective question. A reflective question is something that doesn't require an answer. It's just something you ask the silence. And at some point, the answer will come back to you, maybe tomorrow or next week or the next month. So the question is, what in my inner life needs transformation? What in my inner life needs transformation? And why I'm asking you to ask yourself this question is because I believe, and it's certainly been my experience, that my inner life, my inner vibration affects what happens to me on the external plane, which is why it's so important to become peaceful and to become in harmony inside and to release, to work with trauma so that we're releasing it somatically and we're not lost in rage or fear or resentment or sadness. And under all those emotions, if those are what you experience, there is always that inner peace. And the point of our yoga practice is to just begin to find that inner peace, which is always there, the realization, the self-realization of your true nature beneath the thoughts and the emotions. And now just gently roll your head from side to side to release the neck. And then when you've centered your head, again, take your hands to your belly and chant to your belly 3 times. Om, Ram, Ram, Ram. And just for a moment or two, explore the concept. It's not a concept actually, but explore silence. So the chanting, the yoga, the breathings will have begun, I hope, to make the mind more quiet. So have a sense of allowing the thoughts to be slower than the breath. And see if you can discover silence, either from the space between the thoughts, or even the sensation of being surrounded by a bubble of silence. And now we're going to do a couple of very, very gentle optional movements. So if your legs are out straight, have them bent, and then take one knee, then the other over the belly. And just rock out the spine from side to side. You can hold the knees or below the knees or under the knees. And then we're going to move with the breath. So we're going to breathe in. The knees move away from us as the elbows straighten. Exhale, draw the knees in towards you. This is a very gentle movement, but it's just really fabulous for the lower back. We always say in yoga, the subtle movements are the most powerful. So just take a few movements like this, but rest out when you need to. So always listen to the body, work with kindness. Don't do anything that's too much. If you would prefer to rest, please do so. And then we're going to drop the feet to the floor with the knees bent, feet hip width apart, heels in towards the buttocks, palms are down beside the hips. And we're just going to start with a pelvic tilt. But as we do this, I would like you to be focusing on Manipura chakra. So we've done this before for the sacral chakra, but we're doing this, but we're just bringing our awareness to the belly, Manipura chakra. So you're going to work or move with the breath if you can. So you take an in-breath where you are. As you exhale, you just take the small of the back into your support and slightly lift that tailbone off your support, and then breathe in to rest down. So it's a very subtle movement, but you're moving on the exhale. And if you have the energy, you might like to take the navel to the spine just to begin to tone the abdominal muscles. But if that's too much for you, then just do the movement. So we're just warming up the lower spine, but we're kind of moving into this Manipura chakra. Remember, it's not just at the navel, it's around the back too. And then rest and take some breaths. And then the next part of the sequence, if you would like, is to move into a gentle bridge posture, Dvipada Pittam. And again, I'd like you to focus on Manipura chakra. So what we're going to do, we're going to inhale, breathe in, lift the belly, the navel up towards the ceiling. And then we come down on the exhalation. So on the inhalation, we press into the hands and the feet, we keep the knees stable, we keep the chin into the chest, we lift the navel, coming on towards the shoulders, and exhale, and roll back down. Now, you might like to just do that once, so do listen to your energy levels, but do up to 3-4 times. Remember, there's no competition, don't even try and compete with yourself. We're all different. And your energy levels might be such that it would actually be more beneficial for you to visualize this rather than actually do the movement. And then when you've finished, if you have a chair or a sofa nearby, I'd like you just to lie with your feet and legs elevated. You might like to put something under your head. So you've got your lower calves is a 90-degree angle to your thighs. I'm trying to lie down to show you what it would look like, but it doesn't really matter because I need to move my screen. But you get the idea. Just elevate your legs in any way that's comfortable, because I probably don't put this in enough in the classes, but this is really good for our circulation. It's good for our energy too. In the old days, when I was teaching classes for ME, I used to put a half shoulder stand in, but I would never do that now because I know it's far too energetic. And this, you get just as much benefit from elevating your legs. So just rest and think about your breath.